second day of August. If you'll please stand and repeat the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We have quite a bit on our agenda tonight, so we'll go ahead and get started. First item on the agenda tonight is approval of minutes. Commissioners, we have one set of minutes from the July 19th meeting. Do we have any corrections?
I have none.
I have none either. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the minutes from the July 19th commission meeting.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 2, employee of the month. We'll turn that over to Courtney.
Good afternoon, commissioners. So I'm going to present employee of the month for August. We have 2 employees of the month, and that is Lane Miller and Juanita McAvoy. They were nominated by Aubrey Kirkwood. Unfortunately, I don't think Aubrey was able to make it here today. I know she had some other things going on this afternoon. So I'm going to go ahead and read her nomination. I also wanted to let you know that Lane started with the county in 1992, so he has been an employee for 31 years of the rec. And Juanita started with us in 2019, so she has worked with us for 4 years. The nomination says, Lane and Juanita are tour guides here at Carbon Events and Recreation Complex, providing tours of Range Creek Canyon, 9 Mile Canyon, and the San Rafael Swell. With a combined experience that spans decades, they are nothing short of experts. They are always professional, a pleasure to work with, and most importantly, to the people who attend the tours, they're fun. It is not uncommon for guests of a tour to call us after their experience, asking about the other tours we provide because they want to go again. Lane and Juanita are amazing at showcasing our beautiful area, attracting people from all over the country, even the world. And the best part of all of it is they have a solid track record of bringing back the same number of guests they left with every single time.
That is always a plus.
I wasn't going to mention that. So Aubrey says, thank you for everything, Lane and Juanita.
And we would love for you to, both of you, to give us a quick, what's the highlight that you would want people to know or go look at here in Carbon County, since you're the tour guides?
Highlight of what we think people should see?
Yeah. What's your favorite place that you like to take people?
A trip into 9 Mile Canyon. Still after all these years. You know, I find myself in a real awkward situation right now. I spend most of my time at the city, but I spend my most pleasurable time at the county. And what I do for the county, I do for free a lot. But after each one of these trips, I come home and I get a check. And there's just nothing better.
Thank you.
I think my favorite is Range Creek. I started in Range Creek as a volunteer, and they just got tired of me going along, so they finally hired me to do this. And my favorite part about it is the people that come to see Range Creek really want to come for an adventure, and they're always so fun, and we have such a good time. And I get to torture Lane and tease him, and that always helps too. Thank you.
Thank you. Congratulations. Item number 3 on the agenda is Super Service Award. Tina.
She's going through her paperwork.
Okay, so our employee, new, I don't think he needs another job right now. Our Super Service Award winner is Ruben Lopez with Ruben's Barbecue in Price. We almost didn't think he'd make it today, super busy with international days, but we're so glad that he's here. The nomination reads, Ruben always goes above and beyond to make sure everyone has a great experience at our restaurant. He checks in with each customer, asks them where they are from, and likes to highlight them on the Facebook page. If you guys follow Facebook, you will see he gets visitors from all over to enjoy his barbecue. If anyone comes in asking for a donation, he's always quick to help and provides a gift card for the cause. He always has a smile on his face at pop-ups and makes sure that the food he is serving is the best barbecue that all of his customers will have. So I'm happy to present this award to Ruben Lopez. And there's gift cards in here. I didn't get one from Ruben's Barbecue. So try to get out and eat somewhere else. And she's gonna, and you can say anything that you want to say too, if you have anything.
Thought I was.
That is a new smile.
Yeah, that is a new smile. No, we're just getting ready for International Days and Carbon County Fair. We just got event after event after event. So we just look forward to seeing everybody at the pop-ups. Yeah, I'm cooking right now. Yeah, that rainstorm, I was like, stop raining.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Item number 4 is open sale bids for carpet tile. This is for Barry Horsley in the maintenance department.
We only received one bid from Kevin's Abbey Carpets. Read it. Just states what it includes: downstairs 50 cartons, 266.5 yards, and upstairs 55 cartons, 293.15 yards, and total amount totaling the two of them is $31,447.14.
Barry, where's this going? Okay. I don't have any questions.
I don't either. I'll say that we acknowledge the bid. You let Barry review that with Casey, Commissioner Hopes, and then make a decision to purchase.
Thank you.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion is approved. Item number 5, Miss Carbon County, current royalty in review. Welcome.
Thank you. So we got crowned last August and it has been a whirlwind. I'm going to let my girls share their favorite parts and then I will finish talking.
My favorite part of the year was being in parades.
Can you please state your names as you come up?
Legacy Taylor. My name is Carbon County.
Hi, I'm Darby Montgomery, Little Miss Carbon County, and my favorite part of the year was meeting new community members and making friends with all of them.
Hi, my name is Ayana Lee and I am Junior Miss Carbon County. I am so grateful to have had the opportunity to serve our amazing community this year. My favorite memories include delivering presents for the Sub for Santa program, helping to beautify our community during the United Way Day of Caring, and also the parades. I'm so happy to have been able to promote my platform, Stand Up for Kindness, which focuses on anti-bullying and spreads kindness through small acts. I want to thank you, Commissioners and Carbon County, for the love and support through our year.
Hi, I'm Cameron Franson, and I'm your Miss Teen Carbon County. I had an amazing year. I love getting to know and serve the amazing people of Carbon County. From parades, ribbon cuttings, and helping out at events, I had a lot of fun. My favorite part, though, was getting to know these girls who are standing with me. I also loved representing Carbon County at Miss Utah's Teen and promoting my platform, Elderly Doesn't Mean Forgotten, which is about serving and getting to know the people and the stories of the senior citizens that made Carbon County what it is today. And I just want to thank you all for your support throughout the year, and you guys are awesome.
Particularly one here.
I'm Emily Elliott, Miss Carbon County of 2023. We had a blast this year, me and my realty. Being Miss Carbon County means that we can help the community and spread our platforms. Mine was Keep the Beat, Move Those Feet, and it promoted heart health and fitness. I got to go around to the elementaries, get the kids active. We made jump ropes, and it was lots of fun. As my realty shared, we've done a lot in the past year to help out with the community, and that is our favorite part. My favorite part was donating clothes to the Kids Justice Center so they could have school clothes for back to school. We couldn't have done any of this without you commissioners this year, so thank you so much for all the support over the years. Thank you.
We just want to tell you girls, thank you so much for representing our community so well throughout the year. You did a fantastic job. I saw you at all the events that I went to anyway. So, but you did a great job, so thank you. Commissioners?
Yeah, absolutely. Just like Commissioner Hope says, we see you around town. Don't recognize you without the crowns very much. So, but every time we saw you, you were at an event. So you ladies were very busy, and I appreciate your good examples for Carbon County.
Yeah, same thing. Thank you for all you do.
Congratulations. Thank you. Item number 6, thank you from the Castle Country Livestock. Again, as you come to the mic to present, please state your name so we can get that on the record.
I think one has a joke that he wants to tell us too. Not tonight? No.
My name is Deegan Westover. We would like to thank you for the donation to the Castle Country Classic this year. It was a huge success and so much fun.
My name is Ace Thane, and this year we was able to hire a young judge from Colorado. She was great, and she gave every kid advice on how to get better at the show.
Hi, my name is Riley Westover. This is our 3rd year putting on the show, and we have almost doubled the amount of kids. The first year we held the show, we had 76 kids participate. This year we had 137 and 171 animals.
My name is Daisy Thatcher, and we had 27 Pee Wee kids show this year, and we were able to show goats, lambs, and pigs. And all the Pee Wee kids got a bag with a shirt, bracelet, chapstick, and a tattoo. And thanks to our sponsors, we were able to give every exhibitor a shirt and a hat. This year we had a theme for our show, and we chose red, white, and blue, and this went along with our buckles and banners.
My name is Derry Thatcher, and we gave away 58 buckles and 36 banners. We had a lot of first-time buckle winners as well. All of these animals and payouts went right back to Carbon and Emery County Show Kids. We have a quote that we want to share with you. A livestock show is a road paved with life lessons, handshakes, and memories, all coming together at the peak moment when you step into the ring and realize you are already a champion. And we just want to thank you guys.
Thank you.
Appreciate that very much.
I just want to point out, between the last 2 items on our agenda, the future is bright in Carbon County. We have a lot of bright, talented youth. We're happy to have you. So thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, thanks for all you do. I'll catch up with you later for that joke.
Okay, item number 7, review and possible agreement with national park trips. Tina, do you want to come explain what this is?
Okay, commissioners, working with our ad agency and trying to decide where to put the out-of-home advertising for our 2022 co-op grant. We seen an opportunity to work with the National Parks Trips magazine. Just wonderful coverage with them. So National Parks Trips is all about the routes to get there and itineraries to our most visited national parks. This coverage will help visitors to plan the perfect itinerary to include other destinations within their final destination, which puts Carbon County in a very good position. They're able to do that through print, digital, social, e-news, as well as opt-in targeted leads. We are basically getting a two for the price of one, and it will include lead generation as well. That is because they take that content and then they include it in both mygrandcanyonpark.com and myutahparks.com website. Our advertisement in the annual publication of the Grand Canyon Journal will be positioned right after Salt Lake's full page ad and right before the full page ad for Moab Canyonlands and Arches. The Grand Canyon Journal has a circulation of 100,000 copies, and they sell approximately 20,000 copies on newsstands nationwide and in Canada. The other 80,000 are available for free to potential visitors to pick up from destination welcome centers, airports, rental car agencies, hotels, and attractions. So this is just the agreement between Carbon County and the National Parks magazine.
Questions?
I have no questions.
None either. I'll make a motion that we approve the agreement with the National Park Trips.
I will second the motion.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you, Tina.
Thank you.
Item number 8, consideration of possible approval of an annual district court security contract. Jeff, do you want to take this, or Lynn?
We have a contract for bailiff security and perimeter security for the 7th District and Juvenile Court. The total cost of the contract's about $95,000, and it goes from July of 23 for 1 year. We're required to have security around the court, and this is sort of a renewal of what we've been doing from the past.
One question I have, and I think it's only fair, every time we meet with dispatch, they give an increase to us as users of dispatch because of inflation and cost of living to their employees. I think that, especially with the last 2 years, we should probably go back and have a conversation with them, with the district court, and see if we can get an increase. It's been at this since I've been a commissioner.
No,
so
I'm
that's 10
sure
years,
they'd appreciate it.
that we've been at this same. That's just one thought that I had as I read through and reviewed this.
I'd agree with you. I think the state's pretty good at telling us what we got to pay them.
Sure.
So I would agree with Commissioner Hopes, and one thing that's a little bit off-putting for me is we never really get to meet with anyone about this particular contract. It just comes and they want us to sign it. So I think it's fair, and I think it's reasonable to go back and ask for inflation.
So do we want to table this agreement and put our request known to the state?
I think what would help us too is have you put together what the hours that your deputies are having to put in there and compare that against what it's costing us in labor to have them be in the position. Okay.
The one question I do have is it shows the effective date here is July 1st. So we just continue on in the current rates until we can resolve this.
Yes, I would imagine that would be how it would go.
I'll make the motion that we table this item of approving the district court security contract and negotiate with them on an increase.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Who needs to do that? Is that something Lynn would work on, or?
I think you're right. The first step is to get the information. So we need a lot We need the data of what's actually going on. And once we get the data, then we can figure out what's reasonable and compare with other portions of the state and see what's going on. I think we just don't have enough information right now to make the decisions, so I think tabling is the best idea.
I think one thing that we could bring up is the increases that they've given state officers in their contracts with us, as well as just highway patrol in general, the increases that they've received, and we still haven't received an increase in this. I think that's some valuable information.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 9, adjourn as the Carbon County Commission and convene as the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn as the Carbon County Commission and convene as the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency.
I second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are now the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency. Item number 10, under the Redevelopment Agency, is public hearing on a draft project area plan and draft project area budget for RC Solar Community Reinvestment Project Area.
So I'm Adam Long. I'm the attorney for the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency, so this body. If it's okay with the board members, I think it makes sense to do an introduction about both the process, this project in particular, and the bulk of the rest of the agenda, and let you all ask questions rather than coming up here 7 different times. So what we have here is a redevelopment project known as a community reinvestment area. Essentially what this does, it allows the redevelopment agency, so this body, the commissioners here have basically taken off their commissioner hats and put on their agency board member hats, so separate legal entity. The redevelopment agency has, is essentially the tool that local governments have in Utah to encourage economic development. In this case, it's a large utility scale solar project. It's just north of the existing graphite solar project, and in most ways an exact copy. Same basic idea, same incentive structure, same company developing it. So this is, at least in some ways, familiar territory. What we have on the agenda tonight is a public hearing. So we both mailed and posted notices required by statute. This allows members of the public to come in and comment, good, bad, or otherwise, on the proposed project, and in particular on the project area plan and project area budget. Those 2 documents are required by statute and essentially make the who, what, where, when, why, how of the project area and the development. And we also have some people from the developer here, R Plus Energies, and they'd be happy to answer questions too if they come up. So after the public hearing, we have a resolution approving the project area plan. The plan essentially sets out the geographic area where the agency can exercise its essentially economic development powers. We have the project area budget, which is financial projections and some other details about how we anticipate this development happening, what we expect the agency's involvement to be. And at that point, the agenda reconvenes as the Carbon County Commission, and 2 things on the county's agenda, so county versus agency, are the ordinance approving the project area plan. So that essentially finalizes the creation of the project area, and approval of an interlocal agreement between the agency and the county. So again, separate legal entities. This is the agreement where the county commits to divert a portion of the tax revenues created by new development. So just tax revenues that happen because of this development, not tax revenues that exist today, where the county agrees to divert some of that money to fund essentially a development incentive, an incentive to make this project pencil. And that's the process for tonight. We still have some steps to do, and I'll work with Shani on that. The big ones being going to other tax entities and presenting essentially the same proposal and seeking their support as well. I'm happy to answer questions. Again, we have some folks from the developer here. If you have questions for them, or if they want to say anything. Otherwise, I think you can do the public hearing.
I just had one question, and it comes up from the last project that we did. Are the landowners aware that they are responsible for the taxes, and it will be an increased property value because of the development on their land? So they know that, yes, they're getting money because you're basically leasing or renting the property, but the value of the land will increase as well, and that portion will have to pay for they'll have to still pay for the taxes.
We have some of the property owners, maybe all the property owners here. They can speak to that, but I did talk with their attorney earlier this week about that.
Okay.
The plan, as I understand it, is potentially to modify this project area boundary to take out whatever land is not actually covered in solar panels by the time this is all said and done, to allow that to stay in Greenbelt. So I think they're aware. I'll let their attorney speak if that works better.
Start the hearing and then.
Do we want to start the hearing and then have that, or answer the question and then?
That's completely up to you as board members.
I think go into the public hearing.
Okay, let's go ahead and start the public hearing. The public hearing will start at 4:55, 4:56. Okay.
Do you need to make a motion to go into public hearing?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to go to public hearing.
We have a motion.
I'll second that.
And a second. Now we'll start the public hearing at 4:56.
So we're official with a public hearing.
We are.
All right. Commissioners, it's good to be with you this evening. My name is Michael Jensen. I'm an attorney. I represent Dick Jensen, who is with me and standing next to me. We last appeared before the county commissioners December 7th of 2022. At that particular time, there was no lease that had been signed. Since then, it has been signed, and the memorandum of lease has been recorded. But you may recall there are two issues. Dix's property, comprised of about 380 acres, part of it will remain ranch property under Greenbelt, under that prior zoning designation. And the commissioners agreed that that would take place once the survey was completed by RC Solar. It's my understanding that that survey has not yet been completed. So we're not quite there yet. We don't want to hold up. Dix is in support of this redevelopment project area and the plan and budget. However, once that survey is completed, it seems to us that that portion of his property that stays under Greenbelt and under that prior zoning designation should be excluded from the redevelopment project area.
One question, would that create islands, or is it outside of the solar field, or do you know?
It would be outside of the perimeter fence of the RC Solar project itself. And this is critical acreage for Dix as far as his ranching operation is concerned. That portion which will remain outside of the project area.
I think if the land is subdivided, then it would be a new Greenbelt evaluation as to whether the land that is left outside of the solar still qualifies for Greenbelt, and it probably does. But I think they have to evaluate it once you take out the land that's the solar.
It may require subdividing the properties, you think?
Lynn, I think that's correct by statute, but between the county commissioners, the redevelopment agency, Dix, and RC Solar, and the county assessor's office, we should be able to accomplish that.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah, and it's currently Greenbelt, correct? The land that we're talking about that you'd want it to remain Greenbelt, it currently is Greenbelt, right? I mean, we're not going to change the zone on it.
It's in Greenbelt, would remain in Greenbelt, that portion which will not be under development by RC Solar.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak to this, please come to the mic. State your name.
Hi, my name's Jeff Richens. I'm just looking for information that I can take back to a couple of taxing entities. From looking at the information, it appears that about 60% of the proposed area is currently state-owned ground. So I'm a little confused how it is calculated then to the taxing entity, since they receive no revenue now, they would receive no revenue still because it remains state ground from RC Solar. So what is the benefit to the taxing entities for that 60%? And how is that calculated based on the difference in valuations? So I guess that was your question.
That's a good question.
That is a good question. So a big part of this development is in fact sitla land. The bulk of the value, the taxable value of any of these solar projects is personal property. So the solar panels and related equipment all count as personal property and are taxed accordingly. So there won't be a value change for that sitla land, for that state-owned land. It will still be non-taxable. It'll still be $0. Unlike the private property, it'll come out of Greenbelt and there'll be some small amount of new tax revenue just from that change in taxable value. But the bulk of both the investment and the taxable value here is in personal property. So whether that's on sitla land or on private ground, it's taxed the same way.
So
You're gaining value on the panels.
Right,
Yeah.
sure. So is that then taxed at the same rate as the property itself in a project zone?
Yes.
Okay. And then once the project is, say the life of the project is 15 or 20 years and that goes away, does the private property revert back to its original value or does it stay at a higher rate?
That's a question for the assessor when the time comes. I would hypothesize that if the solar project is torn out, the ground remediated and used for ranching again, it would go back in Greenbelt and have, more or less the same value.
However, if they upgrade the panels and move on, it would still be taxed at that.
Okay. All right. Maybe a question then for RC Solar. Do they have an idea yet on what they're proposing? Anything on their budget as far as, is it going to be 15 years out, 20 years out, the life of the project? Are they looking at renewing it after 15 years? Those kinds of questions.
So I can speak to at least some of that. The incentive structure, so the payments from the agency to the developer, which will be under a written agreement that requires the developer to actually perform, build the project, operate the project, pay their taxes. It's the same structure as a graphite solar project where at the end of the day, all said and done, it's I believe a 43.5% incentive, a tax rebate effectively. As far as plans for the project after the useful life of this initial setup, that's a question for the developer.
Good evening, Chairman and Commissioners. My name is Luigi Resto. I'm the President and CEO of R Plus Energies, the developer behind RC Solar. It's a pleasure to be here in front of you, the Commission, again. We're the developer of the graphite project as well, which we're very proud of. And we were proud to sponsor the Castle Valley Livestock as well, which was great. They put it on the baseball hats, which we're going to use on other projects because it was a really cool thing. But these projects are now designed with 40-year useful life, so the incentive is set for a 15-year period, but we fully expect that this would be a 40-year operating power plant, and at some point, 30-year, 35, that they would put new equipment in, probably come before whatever board is here at that point in 35 years and apply for another abatement. But the way our CRA works is anytime new equipment comes in, it's assessed at the new basis value of the project. So we're really excited about this. We have submitted the project. It's very far advanced, working with the Jensens on the land. and the entitlements. We have submitted the project into the Pacific Corp RFP that was from 2022. We have been waiting for notification of shortlist. Every month when they're supposed to provide the notice of shortlist, they send an email saying, we're not meeting our dates. It's going to be another month. So right now we're into the September when we were supposed to hear back in June. But that process is proceeding. We fully expect that we will be shortlisted because it's a great project within the Pacific Corp system. You may have seen their integrated resource plan that they came out with in April that required or has them acquiring a significant amount of new power, both solar, wind, battery storage, and other dynamic storage like pump storage, hydro. So that's part of their whole system. It's about 20 gigawatts that they're looking for, and this project is really well developed and in a position to actually start construction almost immediately with a defined scheduled COD. So we're very excited about it. It will have a battery component, which is slightly different, which will increase the total capital basis investment from the graphite project, which is included in the pro forma in the CRA application tonight. But it will increase the capital investment on the property, which is good for the community.
Thank you. We had another comment.
Just one more comment. I believe Commissioner hopes that you asked the question about, are the property owners aware of property tax increase? We are. That's built into the lease with RC Solar, where they pay, RC Solar pays the increase in the property taxes. So they have a vested interest in seeing on that portion which is outside of the perimeter fence of the RC Solar project, Dix's property that's outside of it remains under green belt, and so there's not a property tax increase on it.
Perfect, thank you. I think one more, just for the other taxing entities, the value of the project decreases over time. It starts out at 100% or 98%. Year one, and by year 20 it's 9% of the value, so it does decrease dramatically over time, because it is personal property, or excuse me, personal property. It has a de-escalation of the value.
Yeah, it depreciates, and that depreciation schedule is set by the state tax commission.
So you won't realize the full value of it other than going through the incentive. But then the incentive gives away or incentivizes the project.
Yeah, I just, Luigi Resta, R Plus Energies again. I do want to acknowledge this as well, because I've done quite a few projects in the state, and there is a depreciation schedule that we follow, the state Schedule 16, long life depreciation schedule, I think is what that is. But this project will have batteries, and batteries degrade much quicker. So we will be augmenting, and I think under the current tax structure, batteries are still depreciated on a 16-year depreciation schedule, but we will be augmenting, adding batteries, because it's a requirement to keep at 100% of output. So that new battery augmentation or addition will be new capital that'll be made on a every 5-year basis, which will increase to some degree the property taxes that the project is paying. So I just wanted to make that highlight.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anyone else that would like to come speak to this? Seeing no one, we'll close the public hearing at 5:08. Commissioners, do we have any further comments or questions?
No, I don't.
One thing, Commissioner, I'm sorry, I was going to say something before you closed, but there's something that we've learned about this type of project, that for the personal property to count as new growth to the tax entities, it actually has to go through a CRA. Otherwise, a project like this would not be counted as new growth. So in that way, it's actually a big plus for the taxing entities.
Thank you.
And I'm happy to go into that just a tiny bit more now, or when we get down to the interlocal agreement. But yeah, that's That's right. The new growth calculations were changed a few years ago where essentially personal property in most cases doesn't count. There are some exceptions for things like big mining trucks and some other exceptions built into that. But when the personal property is within a community reinvestment project area, so long as the agency is receiving that tax increment, it effectively counts as new growth. The way this is set up is under the interlocal agreement, which again is item 15, 100% of these new tax revenues go to the agency, and then the agency rebates a portion back to the taxing entities. That effectively allows the tax entities to capture new growth type tax dollars. And then when this property comes out of call it the project area, at the end of the 15-year period, whatever value is there also gets counted as new growth to the taxing entities.
Okay, so do we want to take these one at a time? Because we have both the project area plan and the budget. Do we want to take those one at a time or both together?
I'd like to do it one at a time.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll first take a motion on the project area plan. We did. We closed the public hearing. So I guess item number 11 is consideration of a resolution RDA 2023-01 approving the project area budget for RC Solar Community and Reinvestment Project area. I apologize. I was on the wrong line.
No, the way it's ordered here, number 11 is the budget, number 12 is the plan. So this works great.
We did the public hearing for both, and so I thought they were both together. I apologize. So do we have a motion on the project area plan?
The budget?
The budget.
I guess we just,
oh, yeah, the budget, sorry.
Yeah, just questions on the budget itself. You know, we mirrored the last project, and our desire is to try to drop the percentage a little bit, and we really haven't been made aware of anything other than the meetings that we've had some time ago. So it would be nice to have an update on the cost of the project. You know, what is it taking now to make these projects work, and do you have any room to help us on our end a little bit?
Yeah, good evening. Luigi Ressa, CEO of R+ Energies developer. The last couple of years has been very difficult. It's been almost a bloodbath, I could say, for us developers with these projects as a result of, COVID, logistics, supply chain, and shipping. The graphite solar project was very difficult on a shipping perspective. I think you guys can imagine costs originally when we had planned and budgeted for the project. The cost per container to ship was $4,000. We ended up spending almost $25,000 per container. This project I mentioned, we submitted into the Pacific Corp RFP earlier in the year. All the costs have come up, but also the interest rates have been going up, I think 14 times in the last 6 months. So the economics for us are probably tighter today than they were years ago. I think what we have, the difference on this project is we also have a battery component, and the battery is going to double the total dollar value of the project for the community. We don't know exactly how big the solar system will be or the battery, because when we submitted the project to Pacific Corp, we gave them a range. We have an interconnection for 80 megawatts. We have the battery capability to go from 20 megawatts to 60 megawatts. And if we, let's go on the higher side of the battery, we would want to increase the solar system to charge more batteries. So there's a big range, and I apologize for that. But hopefully they pick on the big side, both Pacific Corp for all of us, and that they go for the 60 megawatts of battery, and subsequently we would have 130 megawatt roughly solar system. So the range of value could be somewhere between 150 and 225 million dollars, and I know that that's a big range, but it's all based on the cost and ultimately the size and design that Pacific Corp takes. So I appreciate the question, and I know it's always a tough one to say, can we reduce the incentive amount? I would say that we priced and modeled based on the incentive that we got for graphite, understanding that our capital is going to be more expensive and it's going to be a bigger investment.
Thanks.
Any other questions for me?
Maybe just, I think it would be good for the public to know how it works. So Adam, maybe if you could go into that, as we make decisions that would reduce the normal tax, walk the public through that and how this works.
Sure, I'm happy to do that. One of the key points to consider here is that we're not talking about doing anything with current tax dollars. What we call the base value of the property, and essentially the base value for taxes, stays exactly the same. The property is all in Greenbelt, so that is a comparatively low number. What we're talking about with the tax entities agreeing to divert to the agency, and the agency using a portion of that money to fund incentives to make this project happen, is just the new tax dollars generated by this development. So these are only the tax dollars they're paying, and only the tax dollars that don't exist today and will not exist without this development. Does that answer the questions? I'm happy to explain more.
So basically what this is, the Greenbelt status that people are enjoying right now over 15, 20 years is going to be pretty minimal. The tax on Greenbelt is very, very, very low. In contrast with a solar project on there, this would be almost a post-performance, right?
It will be a post-performance incentive, correct?
You pay your tax, and then there's a certain amount that we would agree to that would be rebated. Some of the numbers that you have out there over the life of this project would be Carbon County would receive $944,000, rough numbers. Carbon County School District, almost $2.6 million. Pry-Wide would receive $204,000. So these are dollars on top of,
correct, and
far on top of what they currently would receive.
And those are dollars net of the incentive paid to the project.
Correct.
So
Carbon County taxpayers are not paying for this project. Is that correct?
Correct. These projects are often appealing to counties because they essentially don't do much other than sit out in the desert and cost a lot of money. It doesn't require much in the way of public services. You're unlikely to get a lot of police calls out to a solar project. They're pretty much just there. So oftentimes this looks like a good deal to local governments because they get additional tax revenues without really having to change the services they're already providing. And like I said, the interlocal agreement is structured such that we, effectively capture that new growth type dollar for the tax entities, and that's what those numbers that you read are essentially reflecting.
How in these CRAs there is a requirement, state law, that there's a housing component. Dollars go into a fund for affordable housing. There's also a fee. Walk us through that for administrative fees.
So yeah, by state law, in almost all cases, including this one, 10% of all funds received by the agency go to an agency housing fund. That is effectively to be used for income targeted housing. There's some flexibility in it, but generally used for housing needs for families making less than 80% of the county AMI. That's, I think, in most cases, a boon to the county. There are options under state law to transfer that money to the Olin Walker Housing Fund and do some other things with it as well. But that money stays with the county to use for housing purposes. And then there's also an allocation toward what we call agency overhead or agency administrative costs, including my bills, so that the county and the agency are really not bearing the cost of this project. Even up front, the developer has agreed to reimburse the agency for the costs of setting this up, so that if it never happens, if it dries up and goes away, the agency hasn't spent its own dollars to get to this point. So the goal is for it not to be a burden on the agency or the county's coffers.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't think I have any questions.
I don't have any questions.
Yes.
Dick's, on behalf of Dick's, we would request that the motion to approve the plan include that portion of Dick's property, which will not go under the RC Solar Project perimeter fence. If it will not go within it, that portion which is outside of it will also be excluded from the RC Solar Community Reinvestment Plan boundary. So we can preserve, hopefully, the greenbelt status and the zoning classification, which would be consistent with the ranching operation.
Okay.
Ready for a motion?
Yeah.
I will make the motion that we approve resolution RDA 2023-01, approving the project area budget for RC Solar Community Reinvestment Project area.
And I will second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 12, consideration of resolution RDA 2023-02, approving the project area plan for RC Solar Community Reinvestment Project area. Unless I don't have the corrected agenda and I'm doing this backwards, that's how it's written on here. So was that the plan?
Yes.
And now we're doing the budget.
Other way around.
No. Oh, we did the budget. Okay, I'm just making sure.
Yeah.
So this is the plan.
The plan.
Yep.
I would have thought you would have done the budget first and then the plan, but, or I mean the plan, then the budget, but.
We'll turn your mic off now.
Okay, here we go. Any questions or motions on the plan?
No, I don't have any questions. Make sure I word this correctly, but I would make a motion that we approve resolution RDA 2023-02, approving the project area plan for RC Solar Community Reinvestment Project area, with the caveat that the land that Dix Jensen will not be using for the solar project will remain out of the borders, the boundaries of RC Solar.
I'll second that.
I'm happy with that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Commissioners?
Yes.
I'm sorry to interrupt. There's a question that I had. Hopefully this is a good place to ask, but my understanding is with graphite solar, the tax value that we thought was going to be generated was 80 to 100 million or so. This last year, when the personal property was evaluated by the assessor's office, although I think it's supposed to be done by a self-evaluation or self-reporting, it came to about 80 million taxable value. And I think that taxable value for graphite solar has been appealed, as in they feel like it's too high and it's been appealed. So anyways, I just had a question relating to that. Is that what has happened? That's just what our office has heard. And if that's the case, what does that look like going forward for RC Solar, their proposed taxable value from that?
So I don't know if that is in fact what has happened, but that all sounds very plausible. Just like someone would contest the valuation of their house or anything else. Their goal is to pay as little in taxes as possible. In particular with graphite solar, the way this works, so hypothetically they appeal the valuation. So they've paid the personal property taxes, they appeal the valuation and are, if they're successful, are getting money back. The agreement we have with the developer expressly contemplates that and expressly allows it because it's, allowed by statute, with the provision for the agency when we get to the end of the life of the project area that those final payments are held until any appeal deadlines have passed to make sure we haven't given away more money than we should have.
And I guess some of the question is, I don't remember the exact proposed taxable value generated by the graphite solar project, but does that 80 million, is that close to the what was proposed to be generated by graphite solar? Just to get a feeling for whatever is proposed for RC Solar, is that really what we're going to expect to see as the new taxable value?
As Mr. Resta pointed out, they're looking at a broad range of actual investment. The projections in the budget, the very last page of the budget, are fairly conservative. The way this works from a local tax perspective, the valuation is done after the federal investment tax credit. So if it's $100 million of investment, that 40% credit comes off before we get a taxable value for the county. What we have in here is a guesstimated investment of a guesstimated new taxable value of $100 million, which after that investment tax credit gives us roughly $60 million of new value. Those projections are intentionally on the conservative end. Hopefully they're higher than that. That's better for everyone, better for the county and the taxing entities, and presumably better for the developer as well. But it's a sort of a chicken and egg problem at this point, where we don't know exactly what that'll be. The agreements are all structured based on percentages, though, and the eventual agreement with the developer that will come back to the agency is essentially the last step in this process. We'll have performance thresholds. You have to build a project of X megawatts of capacity. So we know that we're getting essentially what we bargained for. But again, the actual valuation, once it's built or 10 years down the road, is subject to appeal and may or may not match our projections.
Any other questions? No. Okay, item number 13, adjourn as the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency and convene as the Carbon County Commission.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn as the Carbon County Redevelopment Agency and convene as the Carbon County Commission.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Item number 14, consideration of ordinance number 572, adopting the project area plan for RC Solar Community Reinvestment Project Area. Commissioners, do you have any questions?
I'll make the motion that we approve ordinance number 572, adopting project area plan for RC Solar Community Reinvestment Project Area.
Before seconding that, do we want to mention the parcel that Dick Jensen wants to keep out of the border? Is that appropriate at this point, or do we need to
I think so.
Yeah, so I'll add that those areas of Dick Jensen's property that are not within the fenced area of the solar project are not part of the CRA.
Okay, we have an amended motion.
I'll second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes. Thank you. Item number 15, consideration of resolution number 2023-03, approving the interlocal agreement between Carbon County Redevelopment Agency and Carbon County for RC Solar Community Reinvestment Project Area. Do you want to explain this just a little bit,
Sure.
Adam?
So the last few agenda items have been essentially creating the project area, drawing the line on the map where the agency can exercise its powers. So far, no money has actually been committed. This interlocal agreement between the agency and the county is the county saying, okay, you have our authorization to divert a portion of these new tax dollars to the agency. So instead of being paid to the county, the county treasurer will send that money to the agency every year once the tax has been paid. That is then what funds the agency's incentive to the developer. And as I noted before, that incentive will be subject to what we call a participation agreement. So it is truly a post-performance incentive. But that's a few steps down the road. And this is the same agreement, same base agreement that we'll be taking to the other tax entities looking for their participation as well.
Perfect. Any questions?
No questions.
I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion that we approve resolution number 2023-03, approving an interlocal agreement between Carbon County Redevelopment Agency and Carbon County for the RC Solar Community Reinvestment Project area.
And I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you, Adam.
Okay, thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Item number 16 on the agenda is consideration of possible approval of settlement agreement between Sunnyside Properties, Sunnyside Cogeneration Associates, and Carbon County. Lynn, do you want to take this one?
Sure. Sunnyside Properties has agreed to a settlement value of $6 million. And they're asking that Carbon County agree to reduce the taxable value to $6 million. It was, the Board of Equalization value was $18 million, but they've argued that the value has dropped due to change in land use. So this has gone, it's going through this Utah State Tax Commission. And Carbon County has an attorney that's working on it, and they recommend that the commission agree to the $6 million value for the property, the Sunnyside property.
Maybe a little explanation with this is that Sunnyside Cogeneration, who has been operating in the East Carbon area for a long time, 20 plus years, their contract with Rocky Mountain Power ends the end of August, I believe. And so they have made a decision they're not going to continue producing power the way they have in the past. And so their option would be to close the facility. There's reclamation work that has to be done. And so their stand is that the value of their facility has gone way down because it will be closed. There is a chance that the facility will be sold, and if that's done, then we have the right to go back in and assign a new value to it. But the state has agreed to drop the value through the appeals process down. It was actually lower than the $6 million, and we fought that, and they've agreed to allow it to be placed at $6 million rather than $2 million. So, and this is our dilemma in the county. We lost the Castlegate power plant. We're losing this one. The value has gone from $18 million to $6 million. And at the end of this year, it may be worth nothing. So if we don't keep working hard at finding new industry to come in here, all this means is our taxes are going to go up. And we have the same issue with Wolverine Fuels and the value of Skyline Mine and Dugout Mine. They've paid their taxes basically in protest, gone to the state. The state's allowed for the value to be reduced, and now what do we owe them, Seth? $230,000. So back taxes, we have to refund them now $230,000, and that's just a portion for the county. Is that correct?
Maybe all taxing entities. I'd have to check
So
with
that's
Kay.
all, okay, that's better. So, but even back to your issue with RC Solar and the value of these, they come in and they tell us the value is up here, and then in reality, when we get the value and they protest it and the state allows for that to be dropped, we end up with less than we thought in the beginning. But it's still more than nothing that we're getting out of the green belt out there. So we just get a few $100s for hundreds and hundreds of acres of green belt, where this solar plant will bring some money into the county. And I think what the RC, or not RC, but graphite, what did we get from graphite this year? This first year we would have got tax.
Yeah, I think the estimation was that the county itself would bring in over 100,000 in tax revenue.
And the school district's about 250, and
on
so,
Greenbelt, I think it was 12 or 1,300 in contrast when it was in Greenbelt per year.
so these deals they're tough to swallow, but it is bringing extra tax dollar that's helping with all of our property owners who are paying a higher tax. If these things don't come in, our taxes just stay up. So anyway,
I'll entertain a motion unless we have other comments.
No, I don't have any other comments. I'll go ahead and make a motion that we approve the settlement agreement between Sunnyside Properties, Sunnyside Cogeneration Associates, and Carbon County.
I'll second that.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Motion we adjourn.
We are adjourned. Thank you.